Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the weekly angel card reading for the week beginning on Monday the 6th of February through to Friday the 10th of February 2017. So we've got a really powerful lunar eclipse happening on the 10th. Well, it'll be on the 10th in the US, but here in Australia and in New Zealand as well on the Saturday the 11th, early in the morning. So it's in the sign of Leo, and Leo is a sign associated with creativity, and it's also associated with independence, entrepreneurship, power, where our talents kind of lie. So now, because this is happening on an eclipse, it's even more powerful. So we're going to see some really powerful energy coming through the end of the week. For some of you, that might be quite difficult. It might bring forth some emotions, and it's going to spotlight what you need to let go of, because the full moon is about release. So if you are finding that there's something you're holding on to that you really need to let go of, perhaps because of the Leo association, it could be work related. Perhaps you're staying in a job, it's really not working for you. You'll be feeling a lot of pressure from the universe to really pull through and make the changes that you need to make. So let's start with Monday the 6th. So for those who haven't seen this video series before, what I do is I draw a card for each day of the week, Monday to Friday. I do Saturday and Sunday on social media. I don't include it as part of this video because I don't want to make the video too long. And I post each card on my social media as well, so each day, so you can get more detail. And often by the time you see the card on the day, things will have changed and it will have a different level of meaning for you. So it's not a prediction, it's not a horoscope, it's not going to predict what's going to happen to you, but it's going to say things that are going to come up, or predict's the wrong word, but it's going to spotlight areas that are going to be spotlighted by the universe, or bring to the fore areas that you need to be thinking about and addressing in your life. So it's the best way I can put it. What you do with that information is, of course, up to you. There are no certainties, because your life is your own and you have all the power. Nothing's set in stone for you. So starting from Monday, we have balanced friendships. This is one I really love because it's highlighting the fact that friendships need to be fair. So there needs to be an equal formula, or an exchange of giving and receiving. So I always give the examples of friends who take the piss. So if you've got a friend who rings you up, bitches about all her problems, and as soon as you need to talk to her, cannot be found. I used to have this friend years ago who, every time it was her round at the bar, she was gone. Suddenly she had to go to the toilet. And then the next day she'd always boast about how much money she'd saved the night before. And it's like, hello, we just carried you. So that's disrespectful behaviour. I'm not friends with her anymore. Not because of that, but because of people who pull that kind of those kind of stunts. It's part of a whole package of behaviour in terms of expecting other people and entitlement, and that was why our friendship is no longer. But so what we need to be thinking about here is, are my closest friendships healthy? Have I got someone who's taking the piss, or am I taking the piss with someone else? Am I expecting someone to run around after me? Am I waiting for them to make all the phone calls to see how I'm doing? Am I waiting for them to organise the catch-ups? Or am I checking in on them? Am I genuinely listening to them when they talk to me, or am I on my phone the whole time? So think about how you can have the healthiest friendships you can have. And really make sure, and your intuition will be already cueing you. What are the friendships that are not working? Where do you need to let go? And that's not always an easy thing to do. There's no rules for friendship breakups, but it is necessary. And I would urge you, if you need to take that step, to try and be as kind as you can. There's no need to be mean, but to do it in a way that is not going to be hurtful, but you need to think about what you need as well. So and if you're in a friendship like that, it's just, I call them energy vampires, because they're just sucking all the energy out from you, and you need to be expending that energy on yourself and your own self-improvement, and also your kids, your partner, your close friends who are treating you fairly. So let's look at Tuesday now, the 7th of February. It's jumped out already. Cancel, clear, delete. This is a sort of a slogan that Doreen Virtue uses in her workshops. So she taught us whenever I did my first certificate, my Angel Intuitive certificate, cancel, clear, delete. It's what she says. Doreen Virtue, by the way, in case you don't know, is the woman who created these cards. The ones I use. Other people have invented cards as well. She certainly doesn't have a monopoly on it, but I prefer to use hers because I really love the messages. Although I do also like the messages that other people have done, but I think these are what are most familiar to me. But she teaches people how to communicate with angels like myself, and it's something that you already know, but she kind of helps you remember it because it's all intuitive, of course. So this message is, when you say something that you don't want to create in your life, you can cancel, clear, delete it. So for example, if I go, oh God, I'm so sick of this weather, you can cancel, clear and delete it. And I'm doing what she calls the psychic sweep to kind of wipe it away, because you don't want to create that. You don't want to create a situation where you attract more horrible weather. That, now obviously the weather's not a very good example because we cannot control the weather, but we want to be careful we don't attach to negative associations. So let me try and think of a better example than the weather. Oh, no one ever invites me out. Well, if you say things like that, no one's going to invite you out, because you're creating a command to the universe. So the universe blocks your energy from other people being attracted to you and wanting to ask you out to drinks or whatever it is. So we have to be careful. Even things we say jokingly, like, oh, I'll be the last woman left standing when all my friends are married. Don't say things like that. I'm going to sweep it away right now, because you are creating a situation. I mean, that one thing alone is not going to ruin your life. But when we make jokes, the universe does have a sense of humor, but it doesn't really distinguish between when you're saying something or when you're kind of creating it. That's why I would never say to an actor, break a leg or anything like that, because it's just, you don't want to be sending messages that inadvertently create something that you don't want. So we can cancel, clear, delete. So this is a really looking at the deeper meaning here. If you don't want to go around saying cancel, clear, delete when you find yourself saying something negative, what you can really take from this message is to watch your thoughts. So make sure that what you're thinking is in line with what you actually want. If, for example, going back to that romance one, if you genuinely want a partner in your life, but you're too busy telling everyone how much you can't trust men, and I don't need a man, and I've got it sorted. If you're saying things like that, what you're saying is not in alignment with what you actually want. So we need to make sure that our words are responding to, or echoing what we genuinely want, instead of, I'm always going to be overweight, or whatever it is. Don't say things like that, and particularly steer clear of saying things with always or never, because we don't know what our future is, and we're creating it all the time. So we don't want to put in a request at a restaurant for a meal that we don't want for the rest of our lives. So that's really the essence of this. So if that cancel, clear, delete thing, if that doesn't really gel with you, just what you need to know from this card is that you need to really concentrate on keeping your thoughts positive. Now, we do have negative thoughts because, hello, we're human, and I certainly am not immune to that. What you have to do, though, is make sure you don't attach to it. So you can sweep it away, or you can just let it go and not buy into it, and then invite back in the positive thoughts. It's when we kind of start to spiral, like, you have a bad day and things just keep going wrong. And it's very hard to avoid being negative about that, because you just feel like you're losing. So it's okay to acknowledge that that's not an ideal situation you're in, but you want to make sure that you're not saying things never work out for me, or this always happens, and then to continue like the next day. We want to make sure we're waking up the next day and feeling optimistic again, and not kind of spiraling downwards. So looking at Wednesday now, the 8th. Yeah, I do go off on tangents, don't I? Sorry about that. I never know who needs to hear what I'm saying. So if I feel like I'm being led in a particular direction by the angels, I'll just go with it, even if it's slightly off topic. So it's going to mean something to someone, I hope, or perhaps put you on a quest to learn more about a particular area. So Wednesday the 8th, and I'm shuffling a card deck. It just doesn't want to give me a message. Oh, yes it does. So there are all sorts of ways that they communicate to me that that's the right card. Sometimes it simply jumps out, and that's an ideal situation for me because it's very clear. Sometimes they tell me to stop, and it's the first card that comes up. Sometimes it just kind of sticks out in some way when I'm shuffling, like that one did, and it kind of made a noise when the cards came together. So everybody's got their own ways of figuring this out. There's no right and wrong. It's because it's all intuitive. That's just kind of how I work. And I know some people, when you're doing a personal reading, they will get the other person, the client, to pick the cards out. I don't like doing that because I like having only my energies on my cards because they're an extension of my intuition. So I want to make sure that I'm the only one touching them, but that's just me. So now we've got a message about being confused and indecisive, and it really cautions us not to rush into anything. So do your research and double check everything, and particularly if you're already feeling confused and uncertain about something. Don't simply follow something because everybody else is doing it or has done it. You must do the research and not follow anything blindly. And that's always the advice that we get during a Mercury retrograde, which Mercury is not in retrograde right now, but it is asking us to do a lot of research and to ask around and to really not take anything at face value. This particular message is in a number of different card decks, and that's because it does come up for people, and it does come up in personal readings as well, one-on-ones that I do, in regards to a particular situation that someone's facing. It might be a relationship issue, where you're at with your relationship, or it might be a purchase of a house or something like that. You must seek extra information and make sure the advice you're seeking is independent. So on Saturday we had a message about being careful who you listen to, and it was about not listening to negative people. But as an extension of that, it's always something that comes through as a reminder for us to make sure we're not listening to people's advice, because when you offer people advice, and I'm the same, you can't help but give that advice in terms of what you personally would do, because you've only got your own kind of frame of reference. So that Rumi quote that I posted a while ago, when going out on a journey, don't seek advice from people who've never left home. I'm paraphrasing, I think I've got that slightly wrong, but the point is, people who are afraid to take chances will caution you against taking chances if they're risk averse. So they will tell you not to start the new business, stay in this boring job for the rest of your life because it's security, that sort of thing. So be careful who you're taking advice from, because it's skewed towards what suits them, and often that is about reinforcing those societal expectations and structures. People find it very comforting to follow these rules about what you must do with your life in terms of, the marriage and the 2.4 children and the white picket fence, and they find it very threatening when they find someone who's not following those rules and who or has and then bailed out of a particular situation, say a job, and they want to pull you back into line because they don't want to have to confront their own kind of unhappiness or lack of contentment in their lives. So it's easier just to make sure everybody's doing the same thing, and then, well, that's just what you do, so they can accept it easier. So Thursday, that came up very easily. Romance angels are helping you. I love this. We've got Valentine's Day coming up. Now, we had this very card about, I want to say 2 weeks ago. It's not from the Romance Angels card deck, it's from the Archangel Michael deck, but he has conveyed a message about romance. It really is predominantly for single people. If you're in a relationship, there is something in here for you, but it's for single people, making sure that they are asking the angels to help them primarily, and they are not following dead-end streets. And this is something I certainly did when I was single. I pursued men who were not right for me, and because I felt like my life was going to be like some movie where I didn't want to discount any possibilities, because in the movie ending or the fairy tale ending, there would be this happy ending, and I was stuck on that idea. I didn't really like this idea of surrendering control and waiting. But anyway, that was just where I was at personally. So you must ask for help, and you must make sure that you follow your intuition. So my intuition was telling me that guy's I shouldn't say loser, that's not very fair, but that guy's not right for you. That guy's not ready for a relationship. That guy is telling the truth when he says he doesn't want to go out with you. Do not keep throwing yourself at him and think he'll change his mind. So your intuition always knows, but you kind of think, what if I'm wrong? What if we're really meant to be together? Because you get stuck on the idea of the fairy tale. But you know, you've got to trust your intuition. So the other thing you need to do is make sure you're in the best space to be in a relationship. So are you waiting? You know, when I say that we need to wait for the universe to put us in connection with our soulmate, that doesn't mean, you know, kind of being in this holding pattern. You still got to go on with your life and do the things that make you happy, take the trips that you want to take, and start your own business, and chase the promotion, and do all these amazing things. So you must live your own life. Because you're going to attract someone who is vibrating at that higher level as well. They're also having a great life and having a great time. They want to be with someone who's an equal to that. If you are living a mournful life, poor me, no one wants me, guess who you're going to attract? Losers. I actually mean losers this time. You're going to attract people who are... they want to be someone's hero, so they're going to swoop in and try and save you and then run away when it gets too hard. Or they're going to try and change you because they'll see you as a malleable sponge. You know, we have to be careful that we are being the partner that we want to attract. So if you want a man with a sense of humour, you've got to be funny. You've got to live. And if you're not a very funny person, I don't mean you have to have a personality transplant, but you have to do things that are funny. You have to go and watch comedies and recognise the humour in everyday situations. And, you know, it's really about like attracts like when we talk about the universe. So make sure that you are doing the things that you want in a partner. Now, if you're in a relationship, what is your partner doing that's pissing you off right now? Because whenever someone annoys us, it's a reflection of us. So if you feel that your partner's not listening to you, are you perhaps not listening to them, or perhaps you're not listening to other people in your life? So yeah, the people who annoy us, it's because they are doing something that we do also and we don't want to face up to, or they are doing something that we are scared we're going to do. So really ask yourself some questions around that, and ask what you can do to work through your own stuff to bring yourself together, because again, it's that law of attraction. The more work you do on yourself, the stronger your relationship. And now, unfortunately, that does mean the relationship you may find areas of the relationship that aren't going to respond, and that's usually a signifier that it's time to let that go. So we have to remember that with relationships that the universe will point to, they're not always meant to last forever. We have this idea that we meet the one that's forever and everything's easy and perfect. And the reality is that most relationships are not meant to go the distance. They're meant to last as long as they're meant to last, until it's no longer serving you both. So sometimes you have to be prepared to walk away, which is such a freaking hard thing to do. So we need to make sure we're growing, because a healthy relationship is one where both relationships are growing. I've just seen a cockroach on the wall. I'm trying not to scream and continue. That's why I was momentarily distracted there. Gross. Summer in Sydney. It's not pretty, I tell you. So we need to make sure that we're still doing the work we need to do. A healthy relationship is one where both people are growing. They're holding hands, they're moving in the same direction, but they're doing their own work. You're not intertwined and holding each other, clinging on to each other. You need to both be growing and expanding. And then you'll continue to increase that frequency so that you're both still attracting each other on a universal energetic level. Hopefully you got something that will help you out of all of that babble, because, you know, a card like this is going to have so many different meanings depending on where you're at in your love life. If you've just recently left a relationship, this stuff you probably don't want to hear about that. So if that's the case for you, I would really encourage you to remember that your primary relationship is with yourself. So what can you do to be the best person for yourself? How can you be kinder to yourself? How can you show up for yourself? What do you need to let go of to make yourself happier, and to live a life that is going to make you happy? Because, you know, ultimately it is our job to make ourselves happy. You can't put that responsibility on someone else. They will feel the pressure and they will bolt, or you end up disappointed, and you will realize that your life will not have meaning, because it's up to you to feel that. So let's go on to Friday. What a big week. We're entering, by the way, my astrology knowledge is still very basic. So I'm taking this, when I talked about the eclipse, I'm taking that from what I've read from other people. If you're really interested in that stuff, I would suggest you read it. Susan Miller at Astrology Zone is excellent, and so are the Astro Twins. But I do know from what I've read so far, February is going to be a really big month for the eclipse season, because there's another eclipse on February 26th, and it's February 26th in the States and the 27th here in this part of the world, and that is in Pisces, which is the emotional sign and the deep sign. So that's going to bring up a lot of stuff as well. That's a solar eclipse. So, but yeah, when we have an eclipse, it's even more powerful. So we're entering some uncertain times. The best advice from what I've read that I would extend to you is to try not to let your expectations get in the way. Try and be as flexible as you can, while still obviously going after what you want and being true to your heart. So Friday we have some comfort, and maybe this is connected to the eclipse that's happening at the end of the week. If it's bringing up emotions for you that are unpleasant, please remember the angels are with you. This is a really reassuring sign. It lets you know that they're helping you, and they're doing the healing, helping you do the healing work that you need to do. So that might be old stuff coming up again. If you've had a reminder of someone, perhaps an ex-boyfriend's popped up in your feed or something, and you feel really unnerved, things come up when we need to learn a lesson there. So perhaps it's a prompt for you to do some healing around that, some forgiveness work. Perhaps it's your physical health that needs the healing. Whatever it is, even if everything's fine but you just feel a bit flat, or even if everything's great and you've got no need for reassurance, this is still great to see, because it makes us, it reminds us that we're not alone. Because I know in the times when I've been lowest in my life, it's when I've felt alone. And so reconnecting to my intuition and learning that I had this connection with the angels, and learning that they're always there, was really how I kind of pull myself out, because I learned that I was never alone. And when you're in a world, when you're slightly different in a world that's very mainstream, you feel isolated a lot and very lonely. And so learning that you're not alone is the most reassuring thing ever. So take what you need from this card, I'd say. That's the best thing I can advise you. Take comfort, take reassurance, and just take the love that the universe is extending out to you here. And remember to talk to your angels when you need help. They cannot help you unless you ask for help, because you are in charge of your own life. They can't step in and interfere unless you ask them to. So you must keep talking to them and asking them for help. Or even if you don't need help and you just want to say hello and thank you, gratitude is a really powerful thing to do, because the things that we focus on and are grateful for, we attract more of. So it's a pretty good thing to do, and it makes you feel great, because you remember how blessed you are. Hashtag blessed, annoying hashtag. So comfort, the angels are here to help. So, and you're very, very loved by the universe. Looking back at the week, we've got a reminder about maintaining healthy friendships. We've got a reminder to keep our thoughts positive and to try and let go of any tendency to kind of wallow in negative kind of states. Getting some more information on any decisions that are confusing you. Now this one, they're saying this might not be for you, it might be for someone around you, so do bear that in mind, particularly if someone's seeking your advice. Maybe that person needs to do a lot more research. You'll know when the card comes up. You'll know what it means for you. Romance angels, I delivered a whole host of messages around that, and I will do that again on Valentine's Day, no doubt, as something will probably come up around that. But I know from the Valentine's season's already begun, so we're already being slammed with those romance is everything and all you need in your life type messages, which is so unhelpful. So perhaps that's why this is coming up early. And then we've got comfort and reassurance from the angels. So there you have it. I'll post these on my social media each day. At One Grounded Angel is my Instagram account, and it's one as in O-N-E, not the number one. And my Facebook page is One Grounded Angel. If you need to contact me, if you want to book a private reading, you can do that via my website, which is www.onegroundedangel.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you managed to take something out of that. I know I've talked way too long. This is probably the longest video I've ever done. I'm going to regret that when I go to upload it. But hopefully it was helpful to you. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care of yourself and of all your loved ones.